Welcome back to the Python tutorial series. I'm so glad you're here. This is the 22nd video in the series, and today we will talk about the nature of strings. We will first discuss some basic string methods. Then we will go over how to make strings mutable. Finally, we will go over the min and max methods for strings and review ASCII. The timestamps are in the description below, so let's get started. I created a file called natureofstrings.py and created a variable alpha and set that equal to ABCDEFG. Then let's print alpha 1, 2, 3. So this is like a tuple. It will print B and C when we run it. This is because it starts at the first index, and remember, indexes start at 0 and goes up to 3, but not including 3, so it's going to print BC. It's like a tuple, but not like a list. This is because tuples are immutable, and lists are mutable, and strings are immutable like tuples. Strings have a lot of functions. I'm going to create a string called apple and then do the method .index and then enter the letter P. When I run this, I will get 1 because it's index P and the first P is in the first index, so that's why it prints 1. I can also count the number of P's by doing apple.countP. And when I run this, it will output 2 since there are 2 P's. I can also do alpha.isUpper to see if everything is uppercase. And when I run this, this will print false since everything is in lowercase. I can also do the method .capitalize to capitalize alpha when I print it. I can also do .upper or .lower to make everything uppercase or lowercase when I run it. So now when I run this, in line 6 it's alpha.capitalize, so that's capital A here. Then line 7, alpha.upper, so everything's uppercase here. If we did lower, everything would be in lowercase. There's a lot more methods as you see here. I'm not going to go through every single method, but there's some cool ones such as .starts with or .ends with to see if a string starts with or ends with a certain character. I'm going to do alpha 1 equals A. So I'm going to try to change the letter B to A. And when I run this, it will give an error because it's immutable. And it will give a type error because, like a tuple, a string is immutable. So you may be asking, how do I make a string which is immutable mutable? Well, that's what we'll do next. So I created a file called howtochangevalues in strings.py and set alpha equal to ABCDEFG like before, and then I'll print alpha. So a string is immutable, but how do we change it? What if we put it into a list? Well, we can. Then that will make it mutable. So I'll do alpha equals list alpha, and then I'll print alpha again. So now when I run this, it will print the string ABCDEFG alpha, then it will put it in a list. So now that it's in a list, it's mutable. So now we can change the values, which is cool. So now I can do alpha 1 equals A. And then when I print alpha, it will change the value since it's in a list. So this B here will become an A. So we have successfully changed the value. But it's in a list, not a string. How do I get it back into a string? Well, there was this function called .join. So I'll do alpha equals quotation marks with nothing in it, so no spaces or anything. Then I'll do .join, and then I'll join alpha. Then we can now print alpha. So this will now be a string, and we have successfully changed the value from B to A. Look at that. So earlier I had this as nothing because we aren't separating it by anything. But if I wanted to separate it by a star, I could. Now when I run this, it's gonna print A star C, etc. down here. And that's how you use that join if you want to separate it by something. So we have successfully changed the values in a string. This is very powerful in Python. I created a file called min-and-max-strings.py, and in this program, we're gonna talk about how to use the min and max functions for strings. So if you remember from an earlier tutorial, there's this thing called ASCII. So every character is assigned a numeric value. So this is how Python keeps track of this. If you would like to learn more about ASCII, please click the link to the video above. It will also be down in the description. To briefly review ASCII, there's this thing called ORD and char. So ORD converts a letter into a number, so it's going to print A to its assigned value. I'm also going to print B here and capital A here as well to show you what it does. So you'll notice that the numbers for the lowercase a and b are right next to each other, 97 and 98. Capital A is 65. The capital letters have a lower value than the lowercase values. That's something to remember. If we wanted to, we could also print char, CHR, and then the number 65. When we run print char 65, we will get back a capital letter A. So that was a brief review of how ORD and char works. So now, getting into strings, we can print max, then the string, and also min in the string. Now when we run this, we will get a lowercase c because that's the max number, because if you remember, every letter increases and lowercase have a higher value than uppercase. So going off that, the lowest value will be in uppercase A, which has a value of 65. And all the other characters are above that in this string. So that's how to use min and max with strings in Python. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to follow along with this video series by subscribing and hitting the notification bell, or by clicking on the next video so that you can expand your knowledge about Python. And as always, I can't wait to see you next time.